Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Talk Conversation Series, a peer knowledge resource by the CXOs for the CXOs. Now to our host, Kanika Goswami.
Hi everybody. Today we have Michael McDaniel, the Vice President and General Manager of Global Workplace and Mobility at DXC Technologies. Hi Mike, how are you?
I am doing fantastic today. How are you doing?
I'm good, and it's great to have you on our show today. A little bit about the organization and what we'll be talking about. COVID has transformed the way we work, so legacy workplace models are quickly becoming obsolete. CIOs may understand the need to prioritize workplace modernization initiatives, but how do they fit it into the budgets? As their responsibilities continue to grow, but the budgets don't grow proportionately. So we will be speaking to Mike about how this can be done best with limited budgets as well. Mike, would you quickly tell us a little bit about DXC Technologies before we launch into the questions?
Absolutely. DXC is a global technology company that we primarily play in the infrastructure space of most companies, and we serve the global 2,000 companies in the world. And we're one of those standalone independent infrastructure companies that can really help you from engineering as you make the transition from on-prem to cloud. We can run both sides of that, both sides of the infrastructure for you, as well as a large portion of our business is what we now call modern workplace. So we handle everything across our technology stack, including analytics and engineering, applications, clouds and security, IT outsourcing, and then modern workplace, what we're here to talk about today.
Right. So that was going to be my first question. In fact, workplace modernization is a trending concept. How do you see it panning out? How do you see it impacting organizations, and do you see if organizations are taking it seriously enough as much as they should?
Well, absolutely. I mean, our study, being the biggest player in this space, we've gone out and worked with every one of our clients as they've been going through this transition because of what has happened, starting, exactly 1 year ago today. There's really 6 key things, trends that we're seeing happening in the market. So it's around health and safety of their employees. How do you create flexible working as you move into the future? How do we really handle security and compliance with so many people working remotely? How do we embrace zero trust network access? And then in solving that problem becomes a resiliency issue in how can we create better resiliency across the network and the infrastructure? And then the 2 most important things that come out is how do we get our organizations to continue to collaborate and all the while driving cost savings? So those are the big 6 trends that we see hitting the market today because of the global pandemic.
Right. And obviously, because of the pandemic, the workplace has become hybrid. Most organizations are dividing their numbers between remote working and office working, and probably alternating. At least here in India, we are doing that. So this hybrid workplace model is making it difficult for CIOs to coordinate and have a seamless workflow. And I'm not even mentioning the security risks that they take. But what strategies would you recommend to face this situation and come out of it successful?
Well, first and foremost, it becomes a huge cost issue because we've seen a lot of people shift to the at-home work. So, if you've been watching the recent news at all, there's a huge shortage in terms of the components needed to build laptops, because in the past year it's been one of the hottest selling items from a technology standpoint. And so as people start to work more remote, the challenges that these CIOs are facing is the increased cost in that infrastructure side of the business. And so one of the things that we're doing to help our clients look at how they reduce this cost, because when we talk to them, the majority of our clients say at a minimum 30% of their workforce will continue to be remote even after we start to bring people back to work. And then an additional 30% will be in a hybrid mode where they work from home 1 or 2 days a week and come into the office. And the office will change to be more of a collaboration space. And those collaboration spaces need to be upgraded to connect the world of people that are sitting virtually, the world of people that come in a hybrid mode, and then those that are on site or out in the field. And so what we've been doing to help our clients with that total cost equation to help them collaborate better is connecting the end-to-end process of what we now call the modern workplace. Most companies today look at their on-site services, their end-user compute services, and then the management of their hardware as 3 distinct functions. We're saying as you put that together, you can bring that together in a very seamless fashion. And what we're talking about now in the marketplace is orchestrating a better experience across that entire value chain.
Right. So how do you think brands are positive with the do more with less strategy? How do they handle that?
Well, as I ended, your last question there around the orchestration of services across the network, we're looking at new innovative ways in order to help our clients do that. So we are taking a best of breed approach with technologies where we can install on the laptops that will pull telemetry off of the laptop to give us performance data. We are going in and helping our clients shore up their foundation in their ITSM systems so that they can have really good, solid data in terms of why people are having problems with technology and what problems are they having. And then helping them get a solid CMDB where they can know where all of their technology is. And in doing that, by connecting all of those end-to-end points across the network, we're able to orchestrate a much more efficient solving of the IT problem, which means lower cost overall for them because they don't need a heavy on-site presence to solve some of these issues. Because with the advancement of technology, specifically around their ITSM platform, i.e. like ServiceNow, we can automate a lot of the functions that they had people doing physically on site before or talking with clients or end users on the phone. We can now automate that and give a much different experience that's more consumer grade, like most people are used to dealing with their own personal technology, like their cell phone.
And as we were discussing in the introduction part of this conversation, CIOs have a limited budget and now it is probably getting a little more crunched. So with the added responsibilities of managing hybrid workplace models, how do CIOs prioritize parts of their budget to make the most of whatever they have on their hands?
Yeah, that's a very good question. What we tend to see is, right, because they have so many more endpoints that are out on the edge that they had to have to manage, they have some increased security concerns. So they've had to put more focus on that security, and we've been helping them with ways of reducing that overall cost that they have in their more traditional services, like their end user support desk. We now have automation that drives a lot of those calls and cost out, which means we can reduce that overall manpower and allows them to shift their dollars to spend on more important things like the security aspect of having those endpoints remote. And the other thing that we're doing too is we've been working with the hardware providers to have more creative solutions for providing hardware in a monthly service per employee cost base that doesn't doesn't mean that they have to go spend a lot of capital up front. They can kind of pay for the service as they go and get what they need, and it provides much more flexibility in how they spend their dollars.
Yeah, but okay, you touched upon the aspect of security here. So, with workplace modernization, what kind of added security risk do you see? Is there anything that you think that needs to be handled separately and better than before?
Well, yeah, from a security standpoint, we're helping our clients. We recently had an announcement of our partnership with Microsoft, and part of that partnership is helping our clients get more out of what they've purchased. When you look across the landscape of our clients, we have some of our clients are still on an E1 on-prem system from their M365 licensing perspective. And then we have other clients that are somewhere in between an E3 and an E5 rollout. And really, as you start to go to more people working remote, more people out on the edge, that the E5 capabilities that come along with that license, there is a lot of extra added security benefit that is provided through that Microsoft license. And what we find is our client base is somewhere in the middle of rolling out some of that functionality. And our goal at DXC is to help our clients make that journey go faster for their end users, because when they do that and they get that operating in the right way, they have a much more secure endpoint. And we know where all that hardware is. The CMDB is more up to date. We can also put better technology on the computer in order to control the telemetry that's coming off of the machine. And so it gives us much better access to information and allows us to in a more proactive way, solve the issues that our end user clients are seeing, and it makes it more secure.
Right. Now, there is a slight diversion to the last question that I was planning. We were talking about how technology could help CIOs in the future, but that becomes a little generic. So I specifically wanted to know, how do you think workplace modernization technologies can help CIOs plan for the future better? And for instance, what possible artificial intelligence and cloud-based solutions can be used in a modern workplace that you can foresee helping CIOs, getting the better value for their money in investment in technologies?
Now that is a very, very good question. So what we're seeing and what we're working on right now at DXC is that there is lots of access to what's called operational data, and that's called OData. So that is data that comes through the ITSM system, through ServiceNow, through Remedy, etc. So that is, hey, what are people calling in for? That's your ticket data. We also have telemetry data that comes off of the machine. You use SysTrack, NextThink, 1E Tachyon. They're all pulling data off the machines, and they can say, this is how the machine's operating. That is OData. What really becomes interesting is looking at X data, which is the experience data of the employee or the end user that is using the service, and how are they interacting with IT. So we're doing a lot of work around developing for our clients what personas exist within their environment. So if we start with the personas that exist, most companies have 4 or 5, and they may be different, but each one of those personas have a unique technology set that they need in order to do their job that is unique for every company out there. By defining that up front in the service, we can start to align what level of service, what level of features each one of those personas need, and we can test within inside of our experience platform. We can actually go out and test and audit the experience that our employees are getting through their interactions with IT, through the availability of hardware. That's called X data. When you now have X data and O data working together, we can come up with algorithms of the total experience that an employee is feeling with inside the company, and we can work with CIOs and CHROs and say, what programs and processes do you need to put in place in order to continue to drive that experience? And it's not a static thing you do. It has to be a dynamic process built within the IT interaction process, so that over time, as your employee base changes, as you bring in new generations of people, that you get them access and a more personalized experience for what they want in order to complete their job in the most effective way.
And that was a very interesting answer to a good question, if you found the question nice. Thank you so much, Mike, for your time and for all the inputs that you've shared with us. I'm sure our audiences are going to really appreciate what you've been telling them. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time today. I've really enjoyed speaking with you, and look forward to future conversations as we continue to see this space advance. Happy to come back again and share some of our points of view. But suffice to say, the next year is going to be a very, very interesting and game-changing in terms of modern workplace of the future.
That is nice. So it will certainly be a pleasure talking to you again. Let's do that some other time pretty soon. But thank you so much for today. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you so much for being with us. Please do follow us on social media for regular updates and new content.